Language really used by man should be the language of poetry, and that subject matter of poetry is incidents and situation from common life. Who is the proponent of these views? So Wordsworth gave these views. Madeline, a creation of Keats. John Keats figures in You of St. Agnes. Bacon's essays are regarded as compendium of worldly wisdom. Hell is a city much like London, is spoken by William Wordsworth in one of his poems, which play begins with the following lines: If music be the food of love, play on. So right answer is Twelfth Night. Who wrote these famous lines? A heavy weight of hours has changed and bowed one to thee, timeless and swift and proud. So Shelley wrote this. Matthew Arnold wrote, It is no small thing to have so loved the principle of beauty as to perceive the necessary relation of beauty with truly and of both with joy. Who is the poet has loved the principle of beauty in all things? So Matthew Arnold wrote this for John Keats, who loved the principle of beauty in all his poems, who wrote the following lines: The desire of the month, of the star of the night for the morrow, the devotion to something far from the sphere of our borrows. To P.B. Shelley, who is the most common poetic quality? Rather, what is the most common poetic qualities of Keats and Tennyson's? So both are pictorial, while Shelley and A.C. Swinburne's are lyrical. Because of whose refusal that the post of poet laureates went to Robert Southey in 1813. It was Walter Scott. Milton, Thou Shouldst Be Living at This Hour is written by Wordsworth. Poetry is not the turning loose of an emotion but an escape from emotion. This definition of poetry is given by T.S. Eliot, who wrote, I woke one morning and found myself great. It was Lord Byron, who said about Wordsworth as follows: His poetry is reality, his philosophy is illusion. This statement for Wordsworth is given by Matthew Arnold, who has called Bacon the father of English essay, the wisest, brightest, and meanest of mankind. It was Alexander Pope, who is Hamlet's beloved in of Hamlet. So Ophelia, the daughter of Polonius and sister of Laertes, is the beloved of Hamlet and heroine in the play. Malvolio is a character in Twelfth Night. Malvolio is a character in Twelfth Night. Pepys is a character in Great Expectation of Charles Dickens. The most impressive treatment of imagination has been given by S.T. Coleridge in his book Biographia Literaria. For Whom the Bell Tolls was written by Hemingway, who said, I woke one morning and found myself great. So it is Byron, who used the expression unaging monuments of intellect. W. Beats. Which poet was invited by John F. Kennedy, the then President of America, to his inauguration ceremony? It was Robert Frost, and he recited the poem The Gift outright. Who is the writer of Pair of Mustachios? So Anand. Stella is a character in Great Expectation. In which poem does the following line occur? To strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So it is Ulysses by Alfred Lord Tennyson, who wrote The God of Small Things. One more thing you should remember, friends, about Alfred Lord Tennyson, that he was given the designation of Poet Laureate in 1850 after the death of Wordsworth, but earlier it was about to be given to Elizabeth Browning. The God of Small Things is by Arundhati Roy, in which novel the protagonist demand more food from the authorities of Charles Dickens' novel. So it is Oliver Twist who used the term egotistic sublime for Wordsworth. So John Keats used egotistic sublime for Wordsworth. The Restoration period is said to be started from 1660. Who gave up writing poetry for a long period for the sake of struggle for democracy? It was John Milton. John Milton who stopped writing poetry from the next question is, who wrote the poem Brahma? So it was Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Next question is, who wrote The Ladies Not for Burning? Christopher Fry, who wrote The Ladies Not for Burning. Which poem was conceived in a dream? The Kubla Khan by S.T. Coleridge was conceived in a dream. Bohemia is a place in the drama The Winter's Tale by William Shakespeare. Caliban is a character in The Tempest. Adonis is the eulogy written on the death of John Keats. Oedipus complex is expressed most strongly in Sons and Lover. R.K. Narayan, Rashipuram Krishna Swami Narayan is associated with the fictitious play Malgudi. The name of monster in Beowulf is Grendel. The trial scene in The Merchant of Venice was presided over by the Duke. In Arnold's The Scholar Gypsy, the great modern melancholy is spiritualized into a symbol, mystery and dream. Who was the favorite poet of the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru? So it was Robert Frost. Which meter is in which meter is Shelley's Ode to the West Wind is written? So it is written in Tarja Rima. Who said poets are the unacknowledged legislature of the world? P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley who said poets are the unacknowledged legislatures of the world. In which of Shakespeare's play does Lancelot Gobbo appears? Lancelot Gobbo is a comical character in The Merchant of Venice, who pruned the draft of the wasteland to about 1/3 of its original length. It was Ezra Pound who pruned the wasteland, and wasteland is dedicated to this poet, who said the following words: There is providence in the fall of a sparrow. So it is in Hamlet. There is providence in the fall of a sparrow by Hamlet. who said of Keats that he was snuffed out by an article. Next question. Who said democracy was like a balloon? It was G.B. Shaw. Who is Paradise Lost? Tell Adam. Below lowly wise. Dream not of other worlds. Angel Gabriel. In which year did Galsworthy receive the Nobel Prize? So it is 1932. Shelley's genius was basically lyrical. The greatest worshipper of beauty among the Romantic poets was John Keats, who wrote the lives of the poets. Who wrote the lives of the poet? So it is Dr. Johnson. Next, who used the term high disdain? So it is Milton. Milton also used the term pantocracy. Pantocracy is a term associated with John Milton, who said poetry is not the turning loose of an emotion, but an escape from emotion. So T.S. Eliot is the right answer. The famous soliloquy, to be or not to be, occurs in Hamlet. Who wrote, flower in the creamed well, little flower nut, if I could understand what you are, I should know God and man is. Tennyson wrote this line. Who said about Shakespeare, he was not of an age, but for ages? It was Ben Jonson. By which character of Shakespeare is the following line in Shakespeare Julius Caesar is spoken? I am well armed in honesty. To Brutus speak, I am well armed in honesty in Julius Caesar, who accompanied Wordsworth when he was alone in the lap of nature. Dorothy accompanied Wordsworth. In which of Shakespeare play does the following line appears? Sigh no more, ladies, sigh no more. So it is As You Like It. Who said, if Pope is not the poet born, where is poetry to be found? So it was Dr. Samuel Johnson. What was the name of Shelley's wife who committed suicide? Harriet Westbrook. Who has said the Lear of Shakespeare cannot be acted? A.C. Bradley. The age of Milton has been called the golden age of English pulpit. Who is called morning star of Reformation? John Wycliffe. John Wycliffe is called the morning star of Reformation. He is first translator of Bible. He led a movement Lollardian. Who has been called the prince of plagiarists? Alfred Chaucer is called the prince of plagiarists. Who said Spencer writes not a language? Ben Jonson. Which Latin work of Bacon explained the new logic or inductive reasoning upon which his philosophy is founded? So Novum Organum explain Bacon's new logic or inductive reasoning. Bacon essay can be described as infinite riches in a little room, from where this phrase has been borrowed. So it is borrowed from Christopher Marlowe's Jew of Malta. When Bacon's Advancement of Learning come out in the year when it was 1605. In 1605, Bacon's Advancement of Learning came out, and in this year Gunpowder Plot by Guy Fletcher was also planned. The word essay was first used by Montaigne, the father of essay, great essayist, who said that the vernaculars would one day play bankrupt with book is Bacon. Shakespearean play that have a mask within the play are Midsummer's Night Dream, Romeo Juliet, Henry IV, Henry VIII, and The Tempest. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap, is the motto of which Shakespeare play. Richard II. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. These lines occur in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, which play by Shakespeare is known as national anthem in 5 acts. Henry V is known as national anthem in 5 acts. Pope's edition of Shakespeare appeared in 1725. Dr. Samuel Johnson's edition of Shakespeare appeared in 1765, which is the swan song of Shakespeare. The last play of Shakespeare is Tempest. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women merely players. These lines are from As You Like It. Shakespeare's historical plays present the history of England from 1200 to 1550. You can say onward also. So it is about approximately 350 years. Which play by Shakespeare is a comedy by mistaken identity. The Comedy of Errors is a comedy of mistaken identity of twin brothers. Which play of Shakespeare has been regarded as one of Shakespeare's most assured artistic success by T.S. Eliot. Then Coriolanus is the most successful play by Shakespeare according to T.S. Eliot. Which work by Shakespeare was regarded by Coleridge as a hateful work? Measure for Measure has been regarded by Coleridge as a hateful work. Next, The Mask, Comus and Arcadus were written by John Milton. The woman whom Samson loved and was betrayed in Milton Samson Agonistes, her name is Delilah. Fame is the last infirmity of noble mind. This line occurs in Lycidas, who called Milton the mighty-mouthed inventor of harmonies. So it was Tennyson who commented Milton was the devil's party without knowing it. William Blake, in his Marriage of Hell and Heaven, said Milton's was devil's party without knowing it. Who wrote heroic stanza on the death of Oliver Cromwell? It was Dryden. Who said, I admire Ben Jonson, but I love Shakespeare? It was John Dryden. King Lear was provided with an happy ending by Noam Tet. Who is the name of Kate's father? What was the name of Kate's father? So Thomas Tom, and her mother's name was Frances Jennings. What was Kate's father? So he was a stable keeper who was born prematurely. So it was John Keats who died and born both prematurely. Who aroused his literary talent? Charles Cowden Clarke aroused literary talent of John Keats. Like Shakespeare, about whom it is said he knew small Latin and less Greek, to John Keats.